Blog Talk Radio.
Namaste, everyone. Welcome to Nature of Reality Radio. It is 11/11 and the day of a new moon, November 11th, 2015. This is your host, Andrew Fisher, broadcasting every Wednesday from the suburbs of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to expose the true and false nature of reality for what it is and what it is not. The new moon, by the way, was at 12:48 p.m. Eastern, so that's already passed, but the energies of it, and I learned this at the N5D Return to Atlantis conference, the energies of a new moon, if you want to do any spiritual or ritualistic or shamanic exercise like a meditation or a mantra or something around a new or a full moon, it's nice to get it at the exact time, but if you can't do that, try to do it in the 12 hours before or 12 hours after the new moon happens. So 12:48 p.m. Eastern, you guys still got quite a lot of time tonight if you want to do anything. Hopefully you'll stick around and listen to my show, though. We'll certainly enlighten you. Today on the show we have Eden Kantrowitz. She is providing wisdom and love with a Zen passion, as the title says. She is I believe this is her in the queue here, area code 856. That is a New Jersey area code, so I'm sure that's her. She is the owner of a Moment of Zen in Salem, New Jersey, also a renowned Reiki Master, jewelry crafter, and a cook. She discovered her love for the holistic health approach in the early 90s, and the flame has never faded. She's got over 1,000 hours of training in massage therapy alone, and she became a Reiki Master for the Usui Tradition in 2009. I'll ask her about what that specifically is on the show, among many other things. And the essence of her goals for herself as well as for her clients' well-being, and is to return their physical, emotional, spiritual bodies back to a more balanced state. She's also, like I said, an amazing cook, cooking many delicious gourmet food. I'll ask her about what makes a good cook. Certainly would make for a nice radio show conversation here. And her core belief is to find love and joy, is to find love and joy in the everyday. Never lose touch with the inner child that still enjoys watching cartoons and eating breakfast or dinner. Keeping a good sense of humor is vital, and otherwise you can get caught up on the details of the day-to-day and lose sight of what really makes us happy and what is real. Oh, yeah, no question. I'll get to the news in a moment, and then I'll get to her on. First, though, quick little thing about this new moon in Scorpio that we have on 11/11. It says here in this 2015 astrology guide from numerologist.com, this is a new beginning for you. You've been transforming and processing the aspects of yourself that you've been afraid of. Now it's time to bring your new identity into the world of courage. If there are relationships you want to deepen, take them to the next level. Scorpio is a sign of rebirth. Like the phoenix, you arise from the ashes and fly. Let me point out this is a tropical astrology reading. This may be different for those following sidereal astrology. Want to learn all about sidereal astrology? Check out my interview with Mastering the Zodiacs, Afin Chimenti. We talk about the difference between tropical and sidereal. There are some differences. Neither one is any more wrong or right than the other, I'm going to say, but there are differences. So first we're going to get to the news, courtesy of Alex Jones and Company at InfoWars. Next on the agenda before I get these news segments I'm going to be doing in the near future, by the way, they're going to be a little bit shorter because I have noticed that InfoWars' top news stories on Infowars.com have decreased in number. So that means I'm just going to breeze through them a little bit faster. Page seems to be taking a little while to load. Let me just type it into the browser and hopefully it'll pop up faster. The internet's running a little slow. It's probably just having all this stuff up, Mozilla Firefox, and while I'm waiting to load, though, a couple of things on 11/11. When you see 11/11 on the clock, that's very often, and I see it very often, and if you do a very spiritual and metaphysical life, then the synchronicities should abound, and you should see it more often on the clock and other things. So that's usually just a sign that the universe is saying, hey, I'm here. How you doing? I'm doing this to get your attention. Are you listening? I sure hope you are listening because I'm showing 11/11 to awaken you. Yeah, that's one key thing that 11/11 seems to be about. But it's also worth noting that on 11/11, make a wish or make a wish at 11:11 a.m. or p.m., which regardless of what time zone you're in, because that no, 1, 1, and 1, 1, numerologically speaking, has a lot of abundance to it. And if you do it around that time, your wish is more likely to come true. And if you do it on a day like today, 11/11, with the new moon being, it's even more amplified. Good day to make wishes. I already made mine at 11/11. Not going to say what it is, and I'll make another one at 11/11 tonight. But I don't think I'll be telling anyone what it is. There's always been this karma. They say that if you tell your wish, it's not going to come true. I don't know. But all right, moving on. Top stories. Let me do this on the fly here. Unless actual liberals grow a backbone, free speech is doomed. Oh, come on. Do you have to sound so doomsdayish? Well, do you have free speech? Well, Julian Assange, Edward Snowden, Bradley Manning, for all intents and purposes, exercised free speech, and look what's happening to them. Well, they didn't exercise free speech. They said they broke the law. Yeah, but does the government have authority to criminalize what they did? And the answer is obviously no. So, no, they did not break the law, and they exercised free speech, and look what happened to them. So, they might say free speech is an illusion. Then again, your rights are inalienable in so many ways and cannot be taken away unless you contract to it. Not that the government acknowledges that. But anyway, I'm digressing. Move on. Confirmed. Mizzou hunger strike is George Soros op. Okay, I haven't looked into what this Mizzou, that's it, short for Missouri hunger strike, is all about. But if it's George Soros op, then it's New World Order op. So that says a lot. Next article. Beloved, quote, beloved, unquote. Professor resigns. Missouri witch hunt claims another victim. Yeah, I think I should look into this. It's probably related to the hunger strike. Sorry for my ignorance on the news issue here, and I'm trying to cover it. But there should be no witch hunts claiming victims, and I am not really a fan of hunger strike as a form of protest. There's other ways to do it. People are not likely to stop doing something just because you're starving yourself to make them stop doing it. Well, maybe some people are, but hey, I don't think it's the best idea. Our next article: angered residents grill sheriff on why deputies gunned down Idaho rancher. Well, at least some residents are angry and will revolt against tyranny, like deputies gunning down a rancher. My God, I'd love to look at the details of this, but I can't. So, because I got a guest to get on in just a couple minutes here. All right, a massive hack. It'll actually be less than 2 minutes. It'll be about a minute. But anyway, 2 more articles. Massive hack of 70 million prisoner phone calls indicates violation of attorney-client privilege. Well, let me point out that when I was in Arizona jail recently for the cop not respecting my right to travel, I used Eddie Craig's transportation stop script when I get pulled over, and the cop doesn't seem to understand that transportation laws only apply to those in commerce. So for exercising my rights, I get pulled out of the car and hauled to an Arizona jail. And when I tried to call the bail bondsman on the phone, they deliberately did not let the phone call go through. And I say deliberately because some people before me and after me who were in the cell did the same thing, and they were able to connect easily. People say they weren't watching you and rigging your calls. Don't believe that. But I pointed to the surveillance camera in the cell and said, "Oh, maybe they are. I mean, maybe they were treating me harshly because I acted like a sovereign citizen during the whole process." But by the way, there's not going to be any charges against me. My mother got her check back. She bailed me out of $500. They mailed her a check for $493. Why it was 7 cents short is of a little consequence. Randy Kelton told me that when I talked to him about it, and that all but shows that the police are going to drop any charges against me for that. There was nothing really they could charge me with because I knew how to fight the charges by never engaging in transportation in the first place and whatnot, and so they gave up on that. And probably when they saw the papers that Randy Kelton advised I send to the prosecutor, that probably freaked them out and made them decide not to press anything against me. But all right, anyway, I'm digressing. One more article. Oh, it's not an article. It's just presidential debate coverage. So that's the end of that. I've babbled long enough. Area code 856. We're on the air. Is this in Eden Kantrowitz?
Yes, it is. How are you this evening?
Well, this morning I was suffering for some ascension symptoms with and I felt it had to be the new moon 11/11 combination. That was a migraine that lasted for a couple of hours, but that's gone. So right now I'm feeling pretty good. So the new moon's good energies are affecting me. How are they affecting you on 11/11?
So far, so good. I am feeling a little bit shaky, like a blood sugar crash, even though I know that I'm pretty stable right now. But I tend to have really bizarre physical symptoms anytime I have any sort of either spiritual cleansing or growth or download or whatever, it usually manifests as some sort of bizarre physical ailment.
Oh, it's not unusual.
That I'm okay.
Yeah, it's not unusual. I've had the same thing happen to me on full moon, new moon, and equinox solstice days a couple times in the past, and I don't think it's a coincidence. But I'd like to get started on your work and everything, and yeah, I'll let you turn some of this show into a sales pitch. I ask that you not obsess about it, but hey, if people want to understand the science behind your products and how they work, well, then I'm definitely going to give you the chance to talk about that for the sake of revealing the nature of how things work in this reality. So then at the end you can do the sales pitch part of it. But before we do any of that stuff, specifically about the store, well, you can talk about the store, I guess, when you talk about this. I want to talk about Zen in general for the first part of the show here. You got the floor. I'd like to know all about the who, what, when, where, why, and how of Zen for those that don't understand what that term or philosophy or religious belief or whatever it is, depending on what people's point of view is of what Zen is. Who, what, why, and how of Zen. You got the floor.
Well, when it comes to the word Zen, I think there are a few ways to interpret it. And for me, I didn't choose the name of the store because of the Zen Buddhism tradition. I chose it because when I hear the word Zen, it makes me think of a moment of peace, a moment of clarity, a moment where everything is falling into place and there's no worry about the past, there's no worry about the future. It's just right now. But as far as Zen Buddhism goes, being that I'm not a student of Zen Buddhism, I'm going to kind of have to wing it here. But from my understanding, it's an emphasis on a lot of meditation, helping others, what you typically think of with Buddhism. But I think it's a lot heavier on the meditation and on the service of others, more so than the rituals involved in Buddhism, if that makes sense.
Okay, and do you think maybe you would agree with one of Akashic Record Reader and my personal favorite source on the show, Andrew Bartzis, has said that of all the religions, in regards to their, not including the New Age movement, but all the other religions besides that, which one got their metaphysics the most accurate? It would be Buddhism, but he says, well, even they got it wrong, which makes sense because they're a religion. Do you think maybe you could agree with that statement?
Yeah, I think it's right, because anytime you really structurize any sort of spirituality, whether it's Buddhism or Wicca or Christianity, whatever, any kind of path, once you label it a religion, then there's rules and guidelines and structure, and that's where you kind of ruin the beauty of it, in my opinion.
And how about the notion that a lot of Zen Buddhist monks seems to suffer from some form of OCD or OCPD? At least that's not me talking. That's this guy on this show I used to watch back in the day called Idiot Abroad on the Science Channel, when he went to I think it was Japan. Got to spend time with a Zen Buddhist monk, and all the guy seemed to do was clean his house over and over and over and over in the same manner, in the same places, and said it was part of his spiritual growth to do that. And the Idiot Abroad title character said, "That's not Zen Buddhism, that's OCD." I mean, have people got that all? Why exactly would a Zen Buddhist do that?
That's a good question, and I don't know, because again, I don't practice Zen Buddhism. But from what I'm understanding, and I remember reading somewhere that it seems to be not such a pleasant lifestyle, because there's a lot of rigorous, ritualistic, follow this order of things, which is kind of a bummer to me, because I'm more free flowing, go with the flow, do as I feel, not as I'm told I have to do type of thing. But, I don't want to misrepresent Zen Buddhists anywhere or disrespect anybody. I just don't have a very clear understanding on that particular form of Buddhism. But it does sound like OCD to me, at least this one particular gentleman on that episode.
one might say that. But let's switch gears for a little bit here. It says you've discovered your love for the holistic health approach in the early 90s, and the flame has never faded. Well, holistic health, it seems like your specialty is therapeutic massage. You were at an academy called the Academy of Therapeutic Massage and Healing Arts in Vineland, New Jersey, it says. So let's start with therapeutic massage, and then we can go into some other holistic health approaches. What is it about therapeutic massage? Why does it work? Why would you recommend it?
Just allowing somebody into your personal energy field, trusting somebody, and whether it's massage or Reiki or any kind of holistic healthcare is just an amazing thing to know that somebody is there to help you feel better, and they're not there to push on some pharmaceuticals or some of the things that maybe some of the traditional healthcare, not that all traditional healthcare systems are corrupt, but you know where I'm going. With massage, it's great because it's so relaxing. It has such a wonderful physiological effect on the body. It helps you to just release and let go. And you know, after doing massage for as many years as I have done, there are some people that just can't let go. And the type of massage I specialize in, it's a Swedish style. It's very relaxing. I don't like doing deep tissue. I don't like digging in and hurting people, even though deep tissue is technically not supposed to be painful like that. A lot of people get deep tissue and deep pressure confused. But I like to stick to the gentle, soothing, relaxing, because there's a lot to be said for releasing stress. Stress causes so many problems in our lives, so many health issues, and just being able to relax and let go is such a freeing and wonderful thing, which is why I enjoy doing that particular style so much more and receiving it myself. I personally don't like to get the work that I need to get done because it hurts. I like to be soothed and pampered and put to sleep gently for a nice nap.
Oh yeah, sleep is good, but hey, no sleep on this show because we got a lot of info to cover. Well, aside from massage, what other holistic health approaches are you a fan of?
I studied Reiki for a while, and I was doing it for a while too, and I kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit, and I'm trying to discover why I'm kind of pulling away from it for a while. I think it's just a temporary reprieve. But basically, Reiki is a Japanese technique for stress reduction and relaxation, and it happens to have a wonderful side effect, which is the promotion of healing. It started by Usui Sensei. He's the founder of the Reiki system of healing. Now, there's many different kinds of traditions out there. There's, unicorn Reiki and angel Reiki and rainbow Reiki, and if you can think of it, somebody's discovered another way to coin Reiki. But essentially, Reiki is channeling of the universal life force energy, the stuff that keeps us alive, the chi, the ki, the prana, whatever you want to call it. It's channeling that energy through the practitioner and into the client. When the system was discovered, it started out as a spiritual practice, and it ended up having these healing side effects, the benefits of healing. So, you know, it's really wonderful that it's something anybody can receive, regardless of your belief system. And it's the client that's really regulating the amount of energy that's being received. The person that's giving the Reiki, the practitioner, is merely a conduit for the energy. So it's important to not only be aware of that, but to let your ego step aside and know you're not really the healer, you're just the conduit for the healing, and the person receiving the energy is really running the show, if that makes any sense at all. I hope it does.
Yeah, you said there's different yeah, you're making a lot of sense, definitely, but one thing that you said doesn't seem to make a lot of sense is why they would term and coin different terms for Reiki. I'm looking here, your studies to become a Karuna Reiki Master. Interesting thing, Karuna Reiki has a registered trademark logo right next to it, which Reikis are registered trademarks and which are not? I mean, is there any difference in regards to that between the Reikis just because they are registered trademarks, or is it kind of insignificant?
Well, with the Karuna Reiki, if you've ever looked up Reiki, one of the first sites that will pop up in Google is Reiki.org, and William Rand is the founder of that particular organization, and he's the one that started this Karuna Reiki. When you're doing Reiki, there are different symbols that are involved to help fine-tune the energies that are being channeled through you. With Karuna Reiki, there are some different symbols to take it to a different level, and some people feel it works a little faster, it's a little bit more intense. It's kind of hard to explain if you haven't experienced Reiki, or I really shouldn't say if you haven't experienced Reiki. If you're alive, you've experienced Reiki. I mean, if you haven't had a treatment, or if you've not been attuned to Reiki to become a practitioner, then what I'm saying might sound weird or odd, but when you get attuned to the Reiki, it opens you up a little bit more. It makes you a little bit more aware. And I notice the difference between the two different styles, and sometimes when I'm doing Reiki, either on myself or somebody else, the two traditions will cross over. Sometimes I'll get some Karuna symbols that I feel drawn to using, and sometimes I feel like just doing straight-up traditional Usui symbols. It really depends. Now, as far as the other types of Reiki, and again, I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'm not interested in learning unicorn Reiki or rainbow Reiki, and I never looked into it because it just was nothing I was drawn to. It didn't resonate with me. So I don't know anything about it, and if those things are trademarked or where they came from and what they're all about.
That's your prerogative. So thank you for the lesson on Reiki. By all means, people want to learn it, do it. But that being said, how is it possible for anyone to become Reiki by simply acknowledging, yes, I have the ability to do Reiki, yes, I am infinite, I can act as a conduit to heal people if I wanted to, but many would assert, well, simply realizing that is not going to turn you into a specialized Reiki healer overnight. You actually have to practice. Well, if the people that say you have to practice to become good at it are true, how are you supposed to practice to become a good Reiki healer?
How are you supposed to, hold on, let me see if if you've never been attuned, how are you supposed to practice? Is that what you're asking?
Yeah, because, I mean, people would say you can't possibly just learn Reiki by acknowledging I am good at Reiki because I'm infinite consciousness. I can do it if I want to. So, well, that's not good enough. They would assert you have to work at it. You have to try to enhance your abilities in other ways other than acknowledging that you're infinite and you have the ability to do it because of it. You have to. How would you practice if that is true? I mean, is that true? Do you have to practice to become good at it? And if so, how do you go about it?
Well, it's not really about practicing. To become a Reiki practitioner, you're going through. Yes, you're going through the training and you're learning different things, but you're also getting that connection. You're getting an attunement. Attunement is a method in which your connection or your conduit is strengthened, fortified, or opened more, however you want to perceive it, and you're given sacred symbols that are supposed to be kept secret. Of course, now with the internet, you can Google them and find them anywhere, but without the internet, it was supposed to be a private, secret, sacred thing where it was handed down from teacher to student and so on and so forth. It's a very good question, and it deserves discussion and debate, because there are people that say, I am infinite, I am the universe, I believe it too. I'm a spark of the divine, and why should I have to go through somebody else to gain this ability? It's a good question, and I don't know that I can fully answer it to really satisfy everybody's questions. Everybody's concern. I don't know. That's a good question.
That's okay. I don't blame you. It is tough. Otherwise, I wouldn't be asking it to you. But for those that want to make money off Reiki, you can't. They would say, well, you can't just learn it off the internet. You can't go to a site howtolearnreiki.com. Not that is an actual site. I just made that up. But a site like that, you actually have to get training from a certified Reiki teacher to become certified yourself. And only if you are certified can you get a license to make a business out of it. So, that raises the question, well, who certified that taught you? And eventually you go down the line, you have to realize that the person who taught Reiki who originally taught Reiki to everybody was never actually certified to do it in the sense of being taught by someone certified. So in that sense, nobody can be certified Reiki. But then again, that raises the question of how did the first person ever learn Reiki if they didn't get help from another human? Perhaps it must have been they would assert some divine teaching from ETs or some angelic creature or entity, whatever you want to call it. But for those that want to make money out of it, is my point here. Do you have to get some sort of special training and not just learn it off a website?
I think, to be fair to the clients, it would be nice if you went ahead and got the actual training from a legitimate Reiki Master that's had their training, and if you're lucky, I know I'm able to trace my Reiki lineage all the way back to Usui Sensei. Not everybody is that lucky. Not everybody's Reiki Master was able to get that information or hook up with the right masters along the way to be able to trace your lineage. But that's neither here nor there. If you to charge money for this service, and that's another thing, charging money for Reiki with a lot of Reiki practitioners is kind of like a sore point. A lot of us, me included, kind of feel guilty about charging for something so beautiful as is healing. However, it is an energy exchange, and it is my time that is being given, so I have to look at it as I'm exchanging my time with you for money, no matter how horrible it feels for me to ask for money for doing something that I really enjoy doing. But that's my own, that's my own personal thing, my own personal issues that I have to learn to work out. Now, if somebody's just doing it just for the money, then they're not doing it for the right reasons. In my opinion, I think, and then if that's the case, then they probably wouldn't care. And if there was such a website that teachmereiki.com, then that person wouldn't care, and they just do it. People that really love Reiki and are drawn to healing and are drawn to helping people try to do their best to do it what they perceive as the right way, as what they believe is the right way. What is the right way? Who am I to judge what is the right way? I mean, if you didn't know any better and you thought you were doing what is perceived as the right thing, then maybe it's the right thing. Does that make any sense?
Yes, indeed, it does make a lot of sense. A lot of things in this reality don't make sense, and it's my job to expose them for the sake of making sense out of everything. But, okay, I'm babbling and yapping away. Let's move on to your other specialties. Hey, it says you're an amazing cook. I can certainly believe that. You make delicious varieties of gourmet food and snacks, it says, made to accommodate different diets and lifestyles. Well, okay, accommodating different diets and lifestyles, very key about that. Been a lot of conferences and events where they have vegetarian dishes for those that don't eat meat. I mean, I'm a meat eater. It doesn't really concern me, although I will say that my meat diet has progressively gotten down as the Earth's vibration keeps rising and rising and rising. I may not entirely stop eating meat, but it will no doubt go down near the zero on the graph. So, but the thing is, a lot of humans say we shouldn't be meat eaters. I mean, you watch a lion eat meat on the African savanna, it actually tears apart everything in the animal except the it doesn't eat the muscle tissue. It tears out a lot of stuff just to make sure it doesn't get to just eat everything except the muscle tissue, because muscle tissue is toxic. Well, why do we humans eat it? Because we've been brainwashed to eat it, and we've also been conditioned that it's good for us. It can do some things, but then again, if we should be herbivores and not omnivores, then, well, that does say a lot about how we've been falsely conditioned and such. But in regards to food, everybody's got different diets and lifestyles. One thing they say, people can never agree on what toppings to put on a pizza. That's an extreme example, but it makes the point. So, different diets and lifestyles. How do you accommodate people in that regard with being the amazing cook that you are?
And I'll tell you, if you did eat any of my cooking, I think you would really believe I am amazing. It all came about. I don't do it so much anymore because I don't have as much help around me as I used to, but I used to do little events or get-togethers at my shop, and I had people that were vegetarians. I had people that were gluten-free. I never really delved into the vegan cooking, only because it seems like almost everything I'm used to having had some sort of animal product or byproduct in it, and it was just too much work for me too. And God bless all those people that are vegans, because, man, my ex-husband decided to be vegan for one point, and I was like, well, can't have these pickles because there's something in it that has a milk product. Pickles? Really? Okay. So it was just like really hard and confusing. But, I digress. I would accommodate different diets mainly with a combination of pleasing the meat eaters. I am too a meat eater, and I am also finding as my vibration increases, the meats are going down and down. I'm having a hard time eating pork and red meat, except for bacon. That's the one thing I can't give up yet. But I picked up a pork loin in the supermarket, and I had to put it down because I was like, I just can't do it. And I looked at a steak, and I was like, I don't know. The less it looks like the original form, like a hamburger, I have no problem with. A hot dog, I don't care if it has human DNA, it's delicious. But the less it looks like the original form, the easier it is for me to eat. Anyway, now I'm rambling on. So I like to take care of my friends and the people that have special needs. And, if you fall into the vegetarian window, I got you covered. If you can't have gluten, no problem. I'm trying to low carb, so I try to stay away from wheats as much as possible. I'm a big fan of coconut oil, coconut flour, coconut milk. And that's pretty much what I would do to accommodate as many diets as possible. And that's pretty much all there is to it. And the sugar-free stuff. I help with that too.
That's very good to know. Some people, but sugar's not going to kill you. I mean, some say pound for pound carbs are nowhere near as fattening as proteins, but then again, carbs transfer into fat more easily than protein. So,
and you know what? I also think where some people say, "Oh, you have to be low carb. Oh, you have to be this type of diet. Oh, you have to be that type of diet." I think it depends on your body type. I tried so many different diets over the years, and I found for me the low carb diet worked the best. I find that when I eat certain carbohydrates, I feel crappy. I feel achy. I feel sore. I feel tired, more tired than I normally feel. So I just learned out of, process of elimination with my diet what foods worked for me and what ones didn't. I am not strict low carb. I'll eat popcorn like it's going out of style. That is my thing. Popcorn, bacon, and chocolate, forget it. I'm fine. But I try. I know if I go eat a bagel, I will feel like crap, and I will be paying for it. So I don't go for any of those diet hypes. I don't think you have to fall under any one particular type. Pay attention to your body. You know what works best for you. If you need to eat meat, if you feel good eating meat, then eat the meat. Eat the meat until you don't feel good about it anymore. If you feel good being vegan, awesome for you. Be vegan. If you know you can't eat certain things, don't eat them. And if certain things make you feel good, go for it.
Of course, it's better to go low carb than low fat. A lot of people try low fat and they feel horrible. So, but anyway, we're done with the food stuff because this is a nutrition show. It's a nature of reality show. Says here, never lose touch with the inner child that still enjoys watching cartoons and eating breakfast or dinner. Okay, first of all, I'll do with the latter one first. Eating breakfast or dinner. McDonald's just recently started that whole all-day breakfast menu, and it's turned out to be a disaster, which is making the company lose a lot of money. McDonald's is a despicable corporation. The sooner it leaves, the better. And this idea of breakfast all day didn't work out too well. So because I realize that, I can't help but wonder, well, what's the sense in really eating breakfast for dinner? It seems kind of out of place.
Well, I like breakfast food. I like eggs. I like bacon. And if I want to suffer, I'll eat pancakes. But I don't eat pancakes that much anymore because I know how they make me feel. But I love bacon and eggs. I love eggs. It's delicious. You know, I don't see anything wrong with eating them at 6 o'clock at night versus 6 o'clock in the morning. That's my opinion on that.
Okay, and still enjoy. Hey, if you still enjoy watching Saturday morning cartoons, or I don't know if that's the time you watch them, but just the cartoons in general. What kind of cartoons? Are you talking Simpsons, Family Guy, or that kind of cartoon, or are you talking like children's cartoons on Saturday morning? Just to clarify what you mean by that.
If you want my rundown on cartoons, I'll tell you. My favorite,
sure. Adventure
Time. I'm still a fan of SpongeBob. Saturday morning cartoons are strange. Like some of the new cartoons are a little weird. I kind of stick to Nickelodeon a little bit. My son is 5, so I get to be exposed to a lot of the new cartoons. Some I'm like, no, I don't think so. And some I still enjoy. I do watch The Simpsons. I do watch Family Guy, Bob's Burgers, stuff that's geared a little bit more towards adults. Well, I kind of think cartoons really, in a way, there's a lot of adult humor even in the ones that are for kids. You just have to pay attention to what they're saying and doing. But those are my favorites. Adventure Time is I don't know if you've ever watched Adventure Time, but there's some pretty cool messages in there too, which is what I really dig about that show.
Yeah, and a cartoon that was giving bad messages that at first I did dig it. I used to be a big South Park watcher, but I don't watch that cartoon anymore because it seems to be a lot of new.
It's just ridiculous.
Well, it's not. It's the thing that got me about that cartoon. It seemed like they were actually doing some New World Order brainwashing, and I caught into that and sensed that, and as a result, I decided to stop watching that cartoon. But that cartoon was controversial from day one. So, but that's not significant at this point. So,
yeah.
I guess we'll move on. Talking about the store specifically, A Moment of Zen. I contacted you for the show when I realized I had your card. Were you, by the way, at the Mount Shasta conference? Is that where I met you, or the Free Your Mind conference?
I think it was the Free Your Mind conference.
Free Your Mind conference, yeah, because I got a lot of cards from that and the Mount Shasta one I was at. So, starting with the well, first of all, I'm interested to know. I see on the Moment of Zen logo here on the website. It looks like an infinity symbol without the crossing in the middle, and on each end is a flower with some symbols above it, some Asian symbols that people might say looks either, well, actually I could tell it's Japanese, not Chinese. One of the symbols I think on the bottom looks familiar. I believe that's one of the symbols I see often when I go to the dojo for Aikido. I could be wrong. Maybe there's a slight difference there. But what exactly, do you know off the top of your head what that logo says that's on each side of the Moment of Zen logo?
Yes, the flower is a lotus, and the symbols, the letters, those are the modern kanjis for Reiki. So it says Reiki, and it's hovering out of a golden lotus. Now, as far as the infinity shape, a friend of mine redesigned my my logo because I'm not good with the computer graphics programs and that the art program, whatever they are, and so she made that for me, and I never really thought of it that way. It looked like an open infinity symbol. So that's kind of cool. It just happens to be that shape, but the lotus flower and the Reiki kanji is something I came up with myself.
Thank you, and now let's go to the products here. Again, you can turn this into a sales pitch if you want at the end. Crystals, gemstones, and minerals. We could do a whole show on the different varieties of this. It says it's your favorite part of the show. As a matter of fact, the crystal section. And, well, in regards to, well, we got plenty of time. It's only 6:30. It's only 6:40. So I'm going to give you the floor. Talk about your favorite gems and crystals and what they do. And then, like I said, make this a sales pitch at the end. You got the floor. Tell us about the crystals, gemstones, and minerals that you recommend and like the most, and what they, scientifically speaking, do from a metaphysical standpoint.
Okay. Well, the crystals, they're amazing, and yes, they are my favorite part of the shop. And how they work, let me see how I can explain this easily. Crystals have a simple atomic structure, and because of that, their rate of vibration, or their dominant oscillatory rate, is they can maintain it fairly easily. It's hard for a crystal to get knocked out of its vibratory rate. If you drop it, or if there's somebody that's got some really high amplitude, bad vibes going on, that can make the crystal's energy fall out of place. So let's just hold on to that idea that the crystal has a pretty stable vibratory rate. Now, because we are comprised of so many components, different cells, organs, tissues, what have you, our vibratory rate is an average of all these different things. And it's very easy for us to get knocked out of our dominant oscillatory rate, or our vibratory frequency. You know, if you stub your toe, if somebody looks at you the wrong way, if you wake up on the wrong side of the bed, you can just real easily get knocked out. And it's also very easy for us to entrain with other energies because we are so easily influenced by other energies. Bringing a crystal with a stable energy into our field allows us to entrain with, or mesh with, or vibe with that crystal's energy. Bringing that crystal's energy into our energy field benefits us. That's also one of the ways we can determine what crystals work best and how they work best. You with me so far?
Yeah, I'm going to be on mute whenever you're talking, but yes, I am listening fully. So
okay.
Continue on. You got the floor.
Alrighty. So anyway, to determine what crystals do what, there's a few ways. You can obviously look up in a book what crystal is helpful for what ailment, whether it is physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. And this information was gained over years and years of history of working with crystals, people keeping track of history, writing it down, passing it down, meditating with the stones. And when you have a stone for the very first time, the best way to really figure out what the stone is good for, if you have no idea what a specific crystal is good for, you take that stone and you spend some time with it. You meditate with it. You take notes. How do I feel with this stone? What kind of emotions is it bringing up? Is it making me feel any kind of different sensation? What kind of changes am I noticing? And then you can take notes and write it down for about 2-3 days, and then look it up and see what the similarities are. If you don't have the time, just look it up. You don't have to do that. It's just a nice thing to do. And it also goes to show that your intuition is usually spot on. It actually is always spot on. People come into my shop all the time saying, I need a crystal for blah, blah, blah. I say, look, the best way to do it, the most accurate way to do it, think about what you want. What do you want the crystal to help you with? What do you need? What are you looking to gain from the stones? When you have that idea firm in your mind and you know what it is that you really want, look at all the stones and see what keeps jumping out at you. What can you just ignore? And then, when they have chosen their stone, I've got a reference book. I know, off the top of my head, I can say this stone's good for this and that stone's good for that, but each stone has so many different properties that it's impossible for me to remember every single one. And I might not remember the one thing that is pertinent to this person. So I say, look up, see what stone it is, and then we'll look it up in the book, and I'll read everything from the book so I don't miss something that's important to you. And every time that happens, they always pick the right stone. Yes, there's a lot of stones that can overlap and do the same things, but it's so much better for somebody to pick out their own stone than me say, oh, you have a headache, this is a good stone for you. Oh, if you're in a bad mood, that's a good stone for you. Oh, yeah, you have a problem quitting a habit, that's a good stone for you. And the reason why I say it's better to do it yourself than me tell you is because there's so many different layers to the human, to our existence. We're like an onion, and you have to peel back all the layers to find out, well, okay, yes, you may have this problem, but why do you have this problem? Okay, so this happened, but why did that happen? Okay, so you experienced this, so why did it affect you that way? And you may not know, or you may know. You don't. It's really the best way. But now I'm going to sound a little bit like I'm contradicting myself, because there are times, for example, I'm getting ready to finish up my crystal healing certification, and I'm not going to be asking the people, okay, pick out your stones and I'm going to use them on you. There are stones that I have dedicated for use in crystal healing, and I'll also use my intuition if I feel that somebody needs something other than the chakra layout that I will use. Or there's sometimes multiple stones you can use on different chakras. You don't have to use only red jasper for your root chakra. There are several choices. So I will just go with my intuition, and that's always the best way. Really with anything you do, whether it's crystals, finding a job, picking a mate, go with your intuition, go with your gut. So that's, I hope I explained clearly how, or gave you an idea of how the crystals work, and why I love them so much, and besides the fact that they're absolutely beautiful. But then, I don't know, they're just my favorite. Now, you also asked me which stones are my favorite and which ones I recommend. If you're completely new to crystals, you can't go wrong with quartz. Quartz is an energy amplifier. It is your general go-to all-purpose stone. You can use it for just about anything. I also like to have in my personal collection, I mean, of course I have tons of stuff in my collection, but for beginners, I think amethyst is a good one too. Amethyst is good for helping promote spirituality, it helps with so many different things, both physical, mental, emotional. All the stones do, really. But amethyst is a very powerful healer. It can be calming, or it can be stimulating, depending on what you need. It can be protective, although I don't really like saying stuff like it's protective, because that implies that there's danger out there, and danger is also a matter of perception when it comes to energies. Another one is black tourmaline, and again, it helps with negativity, but what is negativity? It's our perception of something that we find not pleasing, whether it's bad vibes or a creepy feeling you get or what have you. Black tourmaline is one of my favorite stones. It's a grounding stone. What does that mean? If you ever feel like you're completely spacey, your head's in the clouds, your thoughts are fuzzy, you're just out there, your chances are you need to be grounded. Black tourmaline is a wonderful grounding stone, and like I said, it's good for negativity. Not that it's protective. I mean, you can say it's protective. I don't want to take that away from people that believe in protective stones versus not protective stones. Yeah, it's protective. It will give you that feeling of safety, and it's also good for transmuting negativity. So when you perceive negative energies coming your way, it can take those perceived negative energies and make them into positive energies. So far I have quartz, amethyst, and black tourmaline. Those are my 3 top favorites. Hematite, that's another great grounding stone. I find with hematite, some people love it, some people hate it. I've also learned that when you have an aversion to a certain stone, chances are there's a reason why, and it's usually that you need to work with it for something. You need some healing, or you need to pay attention to some area in your life that this stone can help you with. Fluorite is another great stone. It's also good for people that have organization problems. It's good for intuition, increasing intuition, and protecting, again, psychically protecting. And let me put a little side note in here about psychic protection. When I say, psychic attacks, I don't mean that there's somebody sitting in a room somewhere in front of a crystal ball saying, ooh, I send bad juju to you. No, not necessarily, because a psychic attack can be something as simple as somebody that doesn't like you, that is thinking negatively about you, maybe talking crap about you, and just projecting negative thoughts towards you. Thoughts are energy forms, and somebody's projecting a negative thought form at you, then that is a form of psychic attack. So some stones can help prevent that or shield you from that. Like amethyst is one of them, and fluorite is another. Pyrite is a stone I've come to appreciate in the recent months. It's also known as fool's gold. A lot of us as kids thought, hey, look, I have a jug of gold. And I think it's one of the underappreciated stones. It's an excellent energy stone, provides an excellent energy shield. And that's another thing. Some people will inadvertently zap your energy, and sometimes they will intentionally zap your energy. Pyrite can help shield you against those people that are energy vampires. Man, I can go on and on about what my favorite stones are and which ones I recommend, but I definitely would say, again, quartz, amethyst, black tourmaline, rose quartz, that's another good one. Rose quartz is about universal love energy, and who couldn't use some more love in their life? Love, and it doesn't just have to be romantic love, just any kind of love, gratitude, nurturing kind of energy. Man, there's so many. I'm trying to picture them all, and of course, I'm drawing a blank. Aventurine, green aventurine, it looks a lot like jade, and as a matter of fact, a lot of people think that all the green aventurine pieces I have are jade, and I was like, I wish, because the jade is rather expensive and rare, but no, green aventurine is a great stone. It's good for abundance and also healing and anything in the heart area, which brings me to another topic with the stones. Sometimes the color can give you a little clue as to what a stone is good for. If you don't know, if there's nobody to help you, and you don't have a book, look at the color of the stones, and hopefully you have a little bit of knowledge about chakras, because this is where I'm leading into. So red stones would be good for your root chakra. Orange stones would be good, for your sacral chakra. Yellow stones would be good for your solar plexus. Green stones would be good for your heart. Blue stones for your throat. Purple stones for your third eye. And clear stones for your crown chakra. And this is like a whole other discussion, a whole other lesson for a whole other show. But if you have an idea of the chakras and where they are in your body, then you can get an idea of what stones would be good to help you with certain issues in your life. You can do so much with the stones. You can meditate with them. That's another question people ask that have no idea about the stones that come in my shop for this first time. They look at them and they're like, what do you do with these? They're just rocks. They're more than just rocks, and you can do a lot with them. Just having a stone in your energy field is already affecting your energy field, because as we talked about, the stones have a very stable vibratory frequency, and we can very easily entrain with that energy, bring their energy into our energy field for our own benefit. So just having a stone in your environment, whether it's in your pocket or next to you on the nightstand, under your pillow, that right there is benefiting you. Then you can actively work with the stones. You can meditate with a stone. Try and get messages or insights from your higher self or through the stone itself. You can do healing with the stones, which is something I'm going to be doing shortly, is crystal healing. You lay the stones on the body. You can do a chakra layout to help balance your chakras, the energy in your chakras. You can do different layouts for different things. You can do an energy layout, a stress layout, a grounding layout, you name it, and there's probably a layout you can do for it. Another thing you can do with stones is make crystal grids. And a crystal grid is a great way to help you achieve some sort of goal or objective. You can use it to empower your work. You have any sort of goal you're trying to meet, and there is a grid you can create for it. You are really only limited by your imagination. And you can't use the excuse that you don't know what the stones are good for. I don't know what this stone does, because there's so much information out there that you can look it up. And making a crystal grid is a really easy and fun way to help empower your goals, to bring your goals to life quicker. And also you can use them to provide clarity on your goals. Let's say you wanted to do a grid for abundance. Okay, you know what? Let's use my shop, for example. I want to do a grid for abundance. So I select my stones that I know are good for abundance, and I come up with my affirmations or my statements or my goals, and I set up my grid and I say my affirmations, and I find, okay, it's working, but it doesn't feel quite right. And that makes me take a closer look at what it is I need to tweak. Okay, so yes, I'd like to draw in more customers. Well, how else do I want to grow my business? Do I want to expand it? Do I want to reach out to a broader base besides just bringing in more local folks? Do I want to expand to internet sales? So it forces me to take a closer look at what it is I'm trying to do. So again, you're really only limited by your imagination. And a lot of people are a little bit intimidated because they're afraid they might do it wrong. And there really is no way to do it wrong. There are good ways to do it and better ways to do it, but there really isn't a wrong way to do it as long as you're doing it with the right intent. You can optimize it if you learn the different ways to do a crystal grid and the different layouts and the different stones and their meanings and their functions. And then you can, of course, have a stronger, more powerful grid than if you have no idea and you just kind of throw some stuff together. It'll still work, but one will work a little faster and a little stronger than the other. What else can I tell you about crystals? You can wear them as jewelry. I don't know how I skipped that one since I make crystal jewelry. Sometimes you don't want to carry a stone or just leave it on your nightstand. You want to wear it. And sometimes people just wear the jewelry because it's beautiful, and there's nothing wrong with that. You don't have to wear it because it does something or it means something. You can wear a crystal or carry a crystal or have a crystal just because it's beautiful and you appreciate its beauty. However, the jewelry I make is primarily geared for intent. It doesn't mean I'm not going to sell it just because you think it's beautiful. If you think it's beautiful, that's great. I'm honored that you're admiring my work. But I do put it together with intent. Because the stones have so many different properties, I give it an idea, like I make power bracelets. And that's just like an industry term. If you were into doing retail, if you were to research the different bracelets, they call them, these gemstone bracelets, power bracelets. So that's why I call them that. And essentially, I take a combination of stones, usually no more than 3 different stones, sometimes 4, but I try to keep it to 3 or less. And I put them together a few different ways. One, I put it together aesthetically, so it looks nice. I also put it together energetically. What would these stones be good for? Because of the nature of my shop, people are always asking me, what's this one do? What's that one do? So I need to have an idea of why I put it together besides the fact that it looks nice. But I also tell people that regardless of why I put it together, you're going to get the energy from the stones that you need most. And that's with anything, whether it's a piece of jewelry I made or a combination of stones that somebody bought from somewhere else. Whatever the person tells you that, this is a special healing amulet for blah, 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 you're going to get the energy that you need most from any stone, regardless of why somebody is selling it to you. So that's a little history of my jewelry and why I make it, because I want people to not only appreciate the beauty of it, but to be able to help them accomplish goals or get over hurdles or feel better about certain things. And I hope that they really do enjoy my jewelry for that reason. And I think they do, because I've gotten plenty of compliments and I have repeat business. And I do put a lot of love and energy into the stuff that I make. I have pendants, I have wire wraps, I have the clay pendants, and I have some beaded necklaces, and all of it, again, is put together with love and intention. Yes, I've made stuff that this is good for stress and anxiety, this is good for attracting wealth, this is good for fertility, but again, I cannot be clear enough. You are going to get whatever energy is going to benefit you most out of any piece of jewelry that I make for you. Is there anything that I'm missing? I feel like I'm missing some topics here. Can you chime in and let me know if
No, you're not missing anything. In fact, you kind of killed two birds with one stone there, because jewelry was one of your other product categories that I could have talked about. But hey, you've already discussed that. Thanks. Let's move on to candles, incense, and oils. Would you probably be saying a lot of the same things for different types of candles as you would with different types of gems and crystals? Some would say yes, some would say no. It's a completely different subject matter, different item of merchandise, so the things are different there in that regard. And as far as the oils, what they are used for, the different types, and the incense, everybody seems to love incense. It's very cool thing to burn your house, not burn your house, but burn in your house. Incense, it seems to do a lot of cleansing behind the scenes when you don't even know it's doing its magic, when you just brush a wand through the room and all that. So, and different things to burn, I guess. Burning sage is always talking about, that seems to be another common thing to talk about, how you can buy simple stuff to burn a sage in your house, and it's not even going to set off the smoke alarm, because the smoke has its own consciousness, they say. So, okay, but I'm digressing and babbling. Moving on to the subject of candles, incense, and oils. Again, you've got the floor. Talk all you want.
Okay, so as far as candles go, I have two different kinds. I have just plain old candles that have no adornments, no dressing, nothing done to them. Just came out of the factory, out of the box. I put them out and on display in all different colors. And those are your great general purpose tools. They are not a magical item. They are just a tool to focus your intent and your energies. And yes, there are different colors that are good for different things, but my theory or my thoughts on the different color candles is, if you want to do, let's say, a healing spell, or you want to do some work for love, a lot of people say, okay, if you're going to do a love thing, you need a pink candle. I say, if for you the color blue means love, then by all means go with a blue candle. Otherwise, you're going to be so dang distracted by the color pink that you're not going to be able to focus your energy. I'm not trying to take away from the fact that each color has its own frequency and vibration, because it does. But since the candle itself isn't doing the work and you are doing the work, it's more important for you to be focused and comfortable. So if a certain color means something to you, go with that color, not with, well, this person said I need this color. If you're going to be distracted, then go with what you need to go with. Also use your intuition. Now, I also have candles that have been adorned or dressed or magically enhanced, energetically enhanced, that's the word I was looking for. There's this one company that I go through. They make really lovely candles that they create according to different astrological timings, and they use different colors and oils and herbs in their candles to optimize the energies of that candle. So that's a really great product, and I tell people they're kind of like ready to go. You're still doing the work, but they've got some of that energy vibration that you're going for already there by mixing all those different components to bring that energy that you're looking for. There's another candle company that I go through where it's called Shaman's Dawn, and he's a shamanic healer, and he does blessings over all his products, which is awesome. And if that's your thing, cool, go for it. If you'd rather just have a plain old candle and do it yourself, that's great too. There is no right or wrong way to do it. You're the one that's doing the work, not the candle. The same thing with the oils. Now, I have different kinds of oils. I have anointing oils, and I have essential oils. And the anointing oils they're pretty much as the name implies. You anoint things with the oils. Now, some people use them as a fragrance because they like the way they smell, and fine, whatever. What you do with the oil when you leave my shop is totally up to you. But the labels will tell you, this one is for blessing. This one is for protection. This one is for creating sacred space, and you dab a little oil on the different things, and that is pretty popular among the hoodoo community. I don't have a whole lot of hoodoo clients, but I do have some that come in and they're looking for some things, and so I have a need that I need to fulfill, and there are the oils. I also have the essential oils, which that taps into a broad customer base. Some of them are using as aromatherapy. Some of them are using as just like an air freshener. Some of them are really into the oils. I've never gotten that deeply into oils and what they're good for. I do know that lavender is great for relaxation, but not everybody loves lavender. So, that's my thing. I used to use the oils when I did massage therapy. I don't have the space anymore, so I haven't been doing massage for quite some time. But in my old shop, when I had the space, I would mix a little bit of lavender. Of course, I'd check and make sure that there were no allergies or aversions to any oils. A little lavender. Sometimes I'd do peppermint. Sometimes I'd do orange, depending. And it would just be a nice addition to the massage cream that I was using. The other thing I have is perfume oils, the roll-ons, and they're pretty amazing. I carry the Auric Blends line, and if you've never had the opportunity to smell it, it's good stuff. My favorite is the Magic, which when I first smelled it, I hated it. Oh, I couldn't stand it, but now I love it. Go figure. So that's what I have in line of oils. Now for incense, sage is wonderful, and sage is great for bringing in the negative ions, because, we are just inundated with positive ions, and most of your listeners are probably familiar that, even though it says positive ions are the bad ones, and the negative ions are the good ones, the ones we want. So lighting sage introduces the negative ions into your atmosphere, into your room, into your space. And it's not so much about eliminating all the positive ions, but it's at least trying to find a sense of balance. Of course, the best way to surround yourself with negative ions is to go outside into nature, go to the beach, go to the woods, get away from the fluorescent lighting and get away from the television and the cell phone and the computer and all that crap that generates the positive ions. So sage is I know you had mentioned something about the smoke has its own consciousness. That's pretty cool. I never really thought of it that way. I looked at it more as the cleansing effect through the ions. Now, I know that there's got to be more to it than that, since it's used by so many different traditions, by so many different paths. So, maybe there is more to it than just the ions, and I'm sure there is. But that's one great way to use sage. Palo Santo is another really popular item I sell in my store. And Palo Santo is from this tree that grows in Peru. It's a sacred tree that they won't cut it down and they won't cut the branches. They have to wait for the tree to die naturally, for the branches to fall. From the research that I've done on it, I found that wood must sit on the ground for 5 up to 40 years. 5 to 40 years, depending on who's harvesting this wood. And in that time, when the wood's drying out and the resins are compressing, is when it's becoming special. It's going through that change that's I guess changing it on a molecular level that makes it have a different impact than if you were to just take a piece fresh from the ground and burn it. You probably wouldn't have the same effect. But Palo Santo can be used, again, like sage, to change your environment, to change the vibrations. Excuse me, I'm sorry, I should have brought a drink with me. And it smells fantastic. I don't know if you've had the chance to smell Palo Santo. If you haven't, oh my God, it's wonderful. And I am going to do a little sales pitch here. If you're ever in South Jersey and you need some Palo Santo, I only sell it for $3 a stick, and I light it all the time. So if you just want to come in and smell it, come in and ask me to light a piece, and I will gladly light it for you. It's wonderful. Now, as for incense, just like regular stick and cone incense, I believe, I'm not positive, so don't quote me on it for sure, but I believe it also has an effect on the ions in your atmosphere. I know it can change your mood, like smells have the ability to affect our mood. And if you think about, what is something that smells wonderful, and how do you feel when you smell something like fresh baked bread, or some people love the smell of fresh cut grass. I don't, but some people do, and it makes them feel happy. Now think about something that stinks, and how does that make you feel? So incense can affect yourself, not only your environment by cleansing or changing ions, but just by the way you feel, by the way it smells. Does it smell good? Does it make you feel good? Great. Does it stink? Does it make you feel like crap? Then put it out. I happen to carry this brand called Om, and it is wonderful. I love that stuff, and everybody that tries it loves it. And I'm slowly working to just sell that and the traditional Nag Champa brand. Those two are going to be the only two sticks that I'm going to be carrying. I have another line that I'm trying to slowly get rid of. I don't think it's that great and that high quality. The Om is a wonderful quality product. It's slow burning, and I believe it's even, what was the word? Was it fair trade? I forget. But it's a good product. It's a very good product. It's quality, and it's fantastic. My favorite of that is the sandalwood. And then the second runner-up would probably be the patchouli, and then frankincense comes in third. I know a lot of people love the dragon's blood. I don't so much love it, but at least not, I don't know. It's okay. And then another way you can do incense, besides the cones, is you can make your own incense that you would burn on a charcoal disc by mixing together resins, herbs, and oils. I do have some herbs. I don't have a lot of herbs. Herbs is another thing I never really got very into, and a lot of people ask me questions that I just don't have the answers to. And I do know that there are some herbs that you cannot take internally, and I don't particularly feel great about selling something to somebody that I'm not fully educated on, knowing that they might possibly take it internally and get sick. So I have a little disclaimer that any herbs that you purchase, do not take internally unless you know what you're doing, and I will not be held liable for anything you should happen to ingest or smoke or do whatever and have some sort of adverse side effect, because you have been warned. Herbs can be medicine. Herbs are medicine, and they're not something to just be taken lightly and played with. So I do tell folks, if you're going to buy this herb and take it internally, please do your research so you don't hurt yourself or somebody else. And I'm not trying to scare folks. I just want them to be informed and let them understand that, it's powerful medicine. It's the original medicine. Before the pharmaceuticals, people were turning to nature for their medicine. So I think I covered all of those little topics. Did I not? Did I miss something?
No, you didn't miss anything. Let's go to the miscellaneous with that stuff said. A couple things in the miscellaneous here that kind of jump out at me. Books, very broad, I would think, in regards to what kind of books you sell, or is it very narrow? Because one of the slides here shows 3 books. One has a cross, one has like a jewel on the cover. They don't seem to have any words on the cover of those books anyway, at least the ones that flashed across the banners here. So what kind of books would a store like yours sell?
Well, the books that you're talking about in that slide they're journals. They're leather journals with handmade paper, and they're really cool. but the actual books that I have for reading, they vary. I carry some new, I carry some used, some not consignment because I end up just buying them straight out from people. The topics vary. Some are Wicca, some are on energy, some are on Native American topics, some are about, I think I have a few palm reading books. I have, or had some tarot books. I have incense books. The topics pretty much would be what you would expect to see in the New Age section of, let's say, Barnes & Noble. And, of course, I have crystal books. My plan for the book section is to kind of get rid of what I have now and bring in more books for the crystals and bring in more for consciousness and spirituality and helping people to open their mind and expand their mind. And not, that seems to do a little bit better. But, of course, I have a lot of competition with places like Amazon. So I don't know. We'll see. I might just stick to the crystal books in the future. I'm not real sure about what I want to do there, but it's a pretty wide variety of topics that I've got going on in the shop right now as far as books. For miscellaneous, I got a lot of like gifty stuff. You know, I've got statues, I've got the dragons, I've got the fairies, I've got different Buddhas, I've got Ganesh and Kuan Yin. I've got a lot of neat stuff in there. There's a lot of cool things, and I try to appeal to as many audiences as possible because, you know, when I first moved my shop from a little side road to a big main road, I could hear the comments of people walking by. What is this? Is this a devil store? Is this crazy voodoo lady? I'm like, you have no idea what this shop is. Come on in and check it out. And even still, like, some people will come in and they will see all the different things, the dream catchers, and they'll see the pentacles, and they'll see the crosses, and they'll see the prayer beads, and they're a little confused and go, I'm not really sure what's going on here. And I explain, my goal is to have a peaceful, loving environment, to try and be as inclusive as possible. I can't, you know, I don't think I've included everybody, and I don't know that it's possible for me to be able to include everybody, but I don't want anybody to feel like they are excluded. I want people to walk in and feel like it's a safe place and that they can be comfortable here regardless of their belief and their path. So miscellaneous covers pretty much everything else in the store. The gift items, the tea sets, the prayer flags, the scarves, the jewelry. Well, I know the jewelry's already in, but the other jewelry, I have like stainless steel jewelry, like biker rings and pretty cool stuff on that end. And I've got banners. I think I mentioned dream catchers. I have rosary beads. I have crosses. I have all kinds of hanging art, statues, lamps, salt lamps. Salt lamps are another great thing if you want to go back to the whole negative ion thing. I have salt lamps.
I want to talk about salt lamps because I had them for several months, but I only recently, like last week, got to buying the bulbs for them. Luckily, a hardware store just got built by my house, so that made that a little easier. But the regards of using Himalayan salt lamps, I got ones that are about 50 pounds, 1.5 feet tall. Do you necessarily have to put the light in them for them to work, or is it not really matter? But then again, the light will actually help do the job a little bit better. Well, what's the science behind that?
From what I understand, is the light causes the heat, which is what makes the salt work, if you want, for lack of a better term. For my understanding, I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I learned. And I think that the heat from the bulb, which is also the way they make the candle holders, you go and throw your tea lights in there, and it heats the salt, which releases the the negative ions into the atmosphere. So, will you benefit just by having the salt lamp in your environment with the light bulb off? I would have to say yes, because technically the Himalayan salt is a crystal, and you've got the salt energy in your environment. the heat, I think, is where you really get the extra benefit of the negative ions being produced in the environment. So, yeah, the light bulb is important. I don't know what size light bulb you have. Mine take the night light size light bulbs, those little bulbs that you'd put in a night light, and they get pretty hot, I'll tell you. So I don't know. Yours sounds like a pretty big lamp. What size bulb do you keep in yours?
It is actually the night light type lamp. That's what fits in the wire, but it lights it up pretty well, even though it's a relatively big lamp. So gets the job done. Just for a moment to get back to one of your other items here, I think I should pay a little ignorance on this. Dream catchers. Okay, what is that?
What is a dream catcher? Well,
yeah.
Let me first say that the dream catchers I have, they are not authentic Native American products. They are beautiful nonetheless, but they are not authentic Native American products. And for a dream catcher to really be effective, if you're buying it for the Native American lore, then it should be made either by a Native American or through Native American processes where they put in prayers and blessings into the dream catchers. They're just not mindlessly made. They're made with intention, with prayer, with energy. And since I'm not a Native American, I can't tell you the whole story about them. But the idea behind it is either that I heard two different versions, that the bad dreams are getting caught in the web and the good dreams are allowed to slide down the feathers into your head. And when the sunlight hits the web, the bad dreams disintegrate. The other one I heard is that the good dreams get caught in the web and slide down the feathers into you, and the bad dreams go out the window. Which story is authentic and correct and true, I don't know. But that's the gist behind it. Do the mass-produced dream catchers work the same way? I don't know. I usually have pretty good dreams, so I don't know. But that's the story, the very quick, abridged story behind them. But I hope I didn't offend any Native American listeners out there, and if there are any that can educate us, please feel free. I know you have a comment section. Please feel free to comment and let us know. But I have some pretty unique and interesting ones. I just got a new one that looks like a tree of life, and of course has nothing to do with the traditional spider web form, but it's still beautiful nonetheless. And I think a lot of people buy them because of how pretty they are, and not always so much for their lore or their actual use.
Thank you. And I'd like to go back to Reiki for a moment because I'm looking at one of your pages here, and there's a specific type of Reiki service that you provide, aura cleansing. Many people practice seeing auras. Some are better at it than others. I mean, looking at yourself in a mirror, trying to envision the aura around you does help. Looking around trees in nature certainly helps with that too. It certainly works better when there's leaves on the trees and such, it seems. Well, some might differ in that. Maybe if you're blessed to see auras and everything, regardless of whether there's a foliage on it, then good for you. But aura cleansing, first of all, before you talk about the specific cleansing of the aura, tell us the science that you understand behind what an aura is, not just for humans, but for anything that has an aura, which would probably, I would guess, would be everything to some extent, and not just living things.
Right. Well, if we go back to the whole idea that everything is energy, your aura is it's essentially your energy field. It's part of who you are. I really don't think I can say it any better than that. It's your energy field, and with an aura cleanse, I don't know if I'm getting ahead of you here, but with an aura cleanse, it's helping to identify maybe some energy blocks or things that have attached themselves or you have placed in your aura that need removal. Did I jump ahead of you?
No, you did not. Keep going.
Okay.
You're doing fine.
So, all right. So for an aura cleanse, the way I do it, and there are probably several ways to do an aura cleanse, but using Reiki, my method is to sit down with a client and there's a series of questions that we're going to ask to help identify a problem. You wouldn't be coming to me if there wasn't a problem. So we're going to try and identify that problem, and we are going to give it, make it almost tangible so you can release it. So I would ask questions like, if this issue, problem, whatever you want to call it, had a shape, what shape would it be? If it had a texture, what texture would it be? If it could make a sound, what sound would it be? If it had a color, what color would it be? If it's where in your body would it be located? Where would you feel it? And we go through these series of questions to kind of give this thing, I don't want to say a life, but give the client something to kind of form so that they can release it, instead of just saying, I feel like crap, I'm not sure why. Here's why. Let's give this. Let's make a thing without making a thing. I hope that makes sense. And then when we have determined, okay, the thing that's bothering me looks and feels like this, and it's located here, I then go in using energy. The term would be Reiki fingers, where I'm extending the energy field of my fingers, kind of, if you could visualize it, kind of like Freddy Krueger claws, but not scary, but with energy. And I would go into your energy field and pull out and throw it up into the light, so to speak, and pull and throw, and I'd pull and I'd throw, and I'd pull and I'd throw, and then I check in with you. Do you still sense this thing? Do you still feel it's there? And, if they do, then I keep pulling and throwing into this light. And I check in again. Do you still feel it? Of course, I've asked them to be open to releasing it and not holding on to it, and hopefully they are releasing it. And we keep doing it and doing it and doing it till they can no longer sense this thing that we've identified. And once they're satisfied that is gone, I then just fill in that space with Reiki energy. Whatever we take out, we of course want to put back in. So I fill in with Reiki energy. And depending on the client and how willing they are to let go, really depends on how long it takes. And usually we just work on one thing at a time. We don't want to overwhelm anybody. So we work on one specific issue, the one that's obviously bothering you the most, or the one you're most willing to kind of identify with. And that's how I do an aura cleanse. I don't claim to be able to see auras. I think I can do what the most average person can do. When you're talking to somebody and they're like standing in front of like let's say a blank wall, you can see that like 1 or 2 inch of waviness behind them, or that light over their head. That's pretty much the extent to my aura viewing. And I have seen my own aura in the mirror. When I used to do Reiki at my old location, I had a big mirror set up that was like also a coat hook. And I happened to look up when I was doing a Reiki session, and I can see, and it was pretty cool to be able to experience that, see my own energy, and I can see how it was more intense over my crown chakra, like the beam of light coming through. It was pretty neat. I couldn't do it too long because I didn't want to get distracted and take my focus away from the client, but it was something that I noticed, and I got a kick out of it. I kind of rambled on there a little bit outside of the auras, but I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, you did. That's cool. That's cool. And one more thing on your site here that's worth noting: spiritual guidance given to you by your spirited intuitive guide, Julie. Well, first of all, before I talk about who she is and what she does, just out of curiosity, would it be in my best interest to contact her at her site here and ask to come on my radio show? Would she do it? Do you know?
I'm sure she would love to, because she's really cool. And I told her about tonight's show, and she was very excited for me. So yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt to try, and I could also tell her that you'll be contacting her, or that you would like to contact her. So
yeah,
no
it might be a little while.
That's
I just want to wait until all my scheduled guests are done, and that would be until probably mid-December or so before I contact her and everybody. But I'll definitely put her on my people to contact list as soon as possible. So, well, with that said, why don't you tell us what she does in regards to these spiritual guidance sessions, which you claim are intuitive? your 60 minutes and they're intuitive.
Yes, she's intuitive. Well, we're all technically intuitive, just some of us are more open to it than others, and everybody has the ability to be intuitive. It just depends on how much you're able to tap into that, or that you're willing to tap into that. But anyway, so what Julie does is each session really kind of varies, again, from client to client, depending on what they need. And Julie, of course, can explain what she does much better than I can, but I'll give you my take on it and what she's done with me or for me. I haven't had a formal session with her because our session is kind of like an ongoing thing. Our friendship, and I have the perks of having her as a friend because she just lovingly guides me and gives me information as it comes in without me asking, which is wonderful because she's sharing her gift with me. But anyway, if you were to come in and have a session with Julie, it really depends on what you're needing and what energies are coming through at the time. It could be her guiding you on a specific issue that you just need clarity on, and whatever messages she's receiving, whatever intuitive instinct, whatever it is she's tapping into, sometimes it's a direct, clear message of say this to this person, kind of like a channeling or a mediumship. Sometimes she is doing mediumship. Sometimes she is channeling information. Sometimes she's just going with her instinct. Sometimes there's some energy work done. She is attuned to Reiki, so I know she does like to have contact, like hold a hand, so there's an energy exchange that's happening there. She can do some palm reading. I don't know how much she does with the clients because we try to keep it as private as possible in my limited space. So I usually put my earphones in so I'm not listening in on their session. But I know that she can do some palm reading. I know that's not her forte, and I hope she doesn't get mad at me for saying it because that's not her thing, but I think it's cool that she can do it. So each session that she does is really customized, and it varies from person to person. And again, you're going to get what you need based on your energy field and her, or what she's picking up from you.
Thank you. Hope that inspires more people to contact her. Again, her site is intuitivedivineseer.com. But in regards to your store and how it's changed over the course of time, one would have to think that as Earth's vibration increases, then the morale within your store and I would assume your sales as well must go up. But then again, one would say, no. As the vibration of the Earth increases, people will not need to buy things like candles and crystals and incense and all the other things you sell in miscellaneous. And I mean, I personally, when I ever went out in nature, I would always carry crystals in my clothes and like around my neck and in my pockets and all that. And also I had Egyptian healing rods with me to enhance the experience. But over the course of time, I actually decreased the amount of crystals I carried on me. And right now I'm only using Egyptian healing rods when I go out into nature. And I'm thinking maybe as Earth's vibration increases, I won't even have to buy Egyptian healing rods and, use them anymore, because I've become so in tune with my higher self. I don't need a crutch, for lack of a better phrase, as some people like Stuart Swerdlow would call it. He actually went as far as saying crystals, gemstones, and Egyptian healing rods are crutches because you don't need them. But a lot of people would find that quite disturbing and appalling and say, well, if you're not using those things, you're missing out on all the fun. So your crutch attitude is very bad, Mr. Swerdlow. I don't mean to cause a debate on that or anything, but hey, that does raise a question of people like you who sell that kind of stuff. They would think maybe your sales would go down as Earth's vibrational frequency, dimensional density, whatever you want to call it, increases to a more love-based frequency. So have your sales improved or disproved, or is that none of my business? Sorry if I offended you by asking that. But do you think maybe you'd be more inclined to believe, yes, vibration increases, my sales would go down, or the other way around perhaps?
Yeah, no, I don't think they're going to go down because, it's not like okay, because the Earth's vibrational frequency is increasing, that all of a sudden people are going to wake up and all be at the same level of consciousness and awareness. I think it's a process, because I get people coming in all the time that are saying, okay, I'm finally breaking away from my church or my organization, and I want to learn something new, and I want to explore. I know there's something more out there than what I've been taught, than what I've been made to believe is truth. And so, for some people, fine, yeah, they may grow away from it, and they may decide they don't need it anymore, and that's all fine and good. If that's where you are in your energetic evolutionary phase, and you feel like you don't need those things anymore, that's fine, but there's still plenty of people that are still waking up and that still need the crutch, that need the help, that need those little tools to help them grow and develop. And so, no, I don't think that it will really have a negative impact. And, no, I don't think it would be. And as far as the miscellaneous stuff, it feels good to give people gifts and do nice things. No matter how awakened you are, it's nice to be thought of and nice to receive a token of something saying, hey, I thought of you today. I love you. You make me happy. I want to give you something that might bring you a little extra joy, even if it is a material item. So, no, I don't think my sales will have a negative impact. No, I think they'll continue to grow.
Another question worth asking is, will strange things happen to the stuff that you sell? And why would I ask that? Well, it just so happens that I had bought a series of orgone chips from Illumination Arts. John Thompson, he's the head of that. He was a guest on my show once, as a matter of fact. I bought some chips and some orgone stuff, specifically some small chips that I wanted to use to put on some of my electronic equipment to prevent the negative energies from coming from the negative EMF frequencies from coming from the appliances. And I discovered, much to my dismay, that some of those chips had disappeared, specifically the ones that I was putting on my cell phone. And I bought a couple more from the store, and they disappeared again as well. And I know where they were. I looked all around, couldn't find them. So I called John Thompson and asked him if any of his other customers have complained about this, about the supplies he sells to them disappearing. And he said, no, you're actually the first one who's talked about this, although my wife has had problems like this before, like with a pendant that she knew she hadn't lost. It just disappeared, and then she looked in the car, and it wasn't there, but when she looked there a second time, it magically came up. Well, one of my stones magically did come up one time in the dryer, but then again, that one disappeared again. But the thing is, I spoke to his wife about what she went through. Maybe she could help me, because she actually does some work where she tries to communicate with entities on the other side, including the heart soul essence of deceased people. And she, during my talk with her, she spontaneously said, Andrew, do you have a grandfather on the other side? And I told her my paternal grandfather passed away 15 years ago. And she said, well, he's talking to me right now, telling me that your angels and guides took the stones from you to wake you up to the fact that they are there for you, and in turn to wake you up to the fact that you don't need to buy stuff like that in order to keep yourself protected, because as long as you ask them to protect you, they will protect you. And that was my the heart soul essence of my deceased paternal grandfather speaking, she claims. Well, I'm thinking, okay, this might happen. If this happens to me, I would think if you sell similar things, it would happen to some of your customers as well, or maybe even, knock on wood, sorry for karma here, some of the stones in your store and some of the chips that you sell and stuff like that might disappear because your angels and guides are perhaps trying to tell you something. So the idea of things like that disappearing, do you have any comment on that phenomenon and if it might happen to you?
Well, if you want to talk about crystals specifically, I have heard of it's not uncommon for people to lose crystals. As far as them disappearing and reappearing, I have a whole other theory on that that I will touch on. But the theory with crystals disappearing from your collection and then never coming back again is that while you are in possession of a stone, you are considered its earth keeper, is the term that I've heard used, and that it will stay with you until it goes to where it needs to go. So sadly, sometimes your crystals are just your temporary companions, and when you're done using them, when you no longer need their energy, they will find where they need to go next, be it somebody else or just back into the earth. So that's one theory of why crystals disappear. And, hey, I knew I just had this stone. Where did it go? The other theory has to do with physics, and I kind of didn't want to delve into this because I am not that well versed in physics, as I'm sure some of your listeners might be, so hopefully they'll be gentle with me. But isn't there a theory that particles are moving in and out of existence all the time, so that it is not impossible for a stone to disappear and then reappear? You know, what's your take on that? That's my thing, is besides the fact that you're just the Earth Keeper and its time with you has gone and it's moved on to someone or somewhere else, but the whole idea of it's moving in and out of existence, since really everything is an illusion and nothing's really solid, that's a possibility.
Oh, it sure is.
Yeah, I had an experience with my own stone. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was talking to somebody, and I had a little dish that had like 3 or 4 stones in it, and there were specific stones, and I was looking for the one, and it was almost like the whole I Dream of Jeannie, where she blinks her eyes and poof, it was gone, and poof, it came back. I'm like, what the hell just happened? I know I'm not tripping because I'm not on anything, so hello? And that was the only time that ever happened to me, where something went away and then came back, but it came back, it was quickly. It was within a few minutes, not like I lost it and it showed up again and then it disappeared again. So that was the strangest thing that's ever happened to me with a stone.
Okay, stranger things have happened, like what happened to me. I wanted to touch on stuff that you don't currently sell, but possibly could if you wanted to. Not that I'm trying to inspire you to sell this stuff, but one thing people might say might be a little out of place is that, according to your website anyway, it doesn't appear that you would sell any sort of a psychoactive substance. I mean, there's lots of nootropics and smart drugs, as they're nicknamed, that people could use to get a quote-unquote legal high. Well, technically, there's no such thing as a unlawful or illegal drug, because if you understand law, you would understand the things we call laws, statutes, codes, and ordinances. They're not laws. They're not binding upon the general public. They're what someone in government considers to be public policy, and they're written to look like they say A, but they actually say F, because legal definitions of words are different than standard, and they count on you not knowing that. So they allege that you did something in a commercial capacity. If you inadvertently allege that you did that, or don't object to them doing it, that's when they can charge you. If only people knew how to object to that, we wouldn't see so many people in jail for drug crimes. But ignoring that, if you wanted to sell legal substances, I mean, in many states you could. If you wanted to, salvia, Amanita muscaria, a lot of those nootropics I mentioned, and there are certain forms of tobacco that are really strong, like mapacho. I actually recently started smoking tobacco again because I realized that it can actually help you. This is from Andrew Bartzis and Venusian emissary Omnek Onek, who said that one reason they smoke tobacco, they're not addicted to it like that, but they just smoke it in their spiritual work because they say it helps them lower their vibrational frequency temporarily, so that whatever they say, even if they say things that they would normally say when they're not smoking tobacco, because their frequency has been lowered by the tobacco, their message can be delivered to someone who's like a sheeple or not awake and isn't still lost in three-dimensional frequency. They can actually understand the message better if the person delivering the message smokes tobacco while delivering the message. It's a complicated phenomenon, but that's what they say works. And they say, I don't want to stop smoking tobacco because if I did, then people would have a tougher time understanding my message, especially the sheeple, and would think that I was a lunatic a lot more often. So I figured, hey, if I want to talk about this stuff on my show, it wouldn't hurt to take up smoking tobacco. And I'm not smoking it like all the time. It's only in spiritual work and such, and like internet information and such, talking to people. And well, some would say for that reason, why not smoke a little tobacco, sell a little tobacco? So the idea of selling stuff that you can get high on for not recreational, but in theogenic purposes, shamanic purposes, do you shun or support that idea?
I don't personally do it because I don't know the ins and outs of it, and I'm not well versed in what you just said about what's legal, what's not legal, what's a law, what's not a law, how it's all worded. I'm like, I have no idea. In that sense, I'm fully aware that I don't want to say that I'm a sheeple, but I just don't know. I don't know how to navigate those waters, and if I were to get in trouble for it, I wouldn't know how to get myself out of trouble for it. So if somebody wants to do that, that's great. It's just not something that I'm willing to take a risk on at this time because I couldn't navigate myself out of trouble if I were to get into trouble, if that makes sense.
But what about the ones that are not listed as illegal that you could sell if you wanted to, like an internet online vendor sells Omni and Muscaria, or in some states where salvia has not been quote-unquote criminalized, you can do that. There's no reason you can't do that in a store, like your local neighborhood store. And there's, like I said, a lot of what they call smart drugs that you can find on some of these shamanic sites that they claim give you a legal high. Knowing that you wouldn't get hassled for selling that, would you still support the idea of doing that, or not necessarily?
I don't know if it was something I would do because it's not a product that I really know enough about to safely sell to somebody. A lot of people ask me, okay, what is this for and how do I use it? And if I don't know, if I'm not well versed in it, I wouldn't feel comfortable selling a product that I don't know. Hey, here's my advice. This is safe. This is not safe. This is too much. Don't do this. Don't do that. This is a safe amount. This is not a safe amount. This is a possible adverse side effect. This is what you may experience. You know what I mean? I'm not shunning it, but it's just not something I'd be interested in doing right now because I don't have enough knowledge on it to feel that I could confidently and safely sell it.
Fair enough. So I guess another topic that I love talking about whenever I talk about spiritual stuff, meditation and the proper and best ways to do it. A lot of people would assert, no, there's no best way to do a meditation, but some would say, well, of course there's a best way to do the meditation. The best way to do the meditation is meditate with your heart and radiate love throughout infinite consciousness. Anything less would be a waste. Of course, many would assert, well, if you do that in all your meditations, you're eventually going to get bored. You got to meditate with a little variety, although some would assert that if you turn meditation into a ritual, then meditation can be a little harmful simply because you've turned it into a obsessive compulsive ritual, doing it in the same time, same place, same way, and all the other stuff like that. I did talk about that with George Kavaslis when I interviewed him. He said meditation can be harmful because it can put you in a state of ritual, and I asked him, what's that supposed to mean? And he said, I probably should have been a little more clear on that, and he explained what he meant by ritual and all that. But the idea that there is a best or not a best meditation, and whether or not that best is to meditate with your heart chakra and radiate love throughout infinite consciousness. Any comments or statements about that?
I don't think there. I think you might have said this right. There really isn't. At least I don't think there really isn't one right way to meditate. I think the goal is to stop the mind chatter. Quiet your mind and be aware of your breathing is one of the main goals. Then what you do once you quiet your mind, whether you're radiating love out of your heart chakra or you're on a guided meditation, I don't really think there is any one solid, absolute right way to do it. I think whatever can get you to that peaceful state, even if it's just, a moment of mindful breathing, there's nothing wrong with that. I guess if you became obsessed about it and did it ritualistically, then I guess then you're just forming some other habit that may not be ideal, but I don't think there's really a wrong way to meditate or one absolute right way to do it. And in my shop, we, at least I used to do the guided meditations. We're working on so many different things, trying to make plans for expansion and offering a lot more services, just because the layout really isn't that conducive to it. But anyway, one of the favorite things that I used to do that got a lot of response was guided meditation. because a lot of people have a hard time turning off and shutting off that mind chatter, myself included. And with the guided meditation, it kind of gives you a break from that mind chatter, even if it is listening to somebody else playing a story that you're just playing out in your own head. We also recently had one of my friends, his name is Luke Ottinger, he led a basics of meditation class, which helped folks kind of get into the groove of breathing, a pattern of breathing, and it was also ended up being a little bit of a guided meditation, but it was to let people know, look, it doesn't have to be this really awful, hard, ritualistic, strict practice. It could be as simple as just breathing consciously, being aware of your breath.
Thank you. And switching gears, just so you know, well, first of all, just so you know, we have 9 minutes and 55 seconds left on the live feed. Try to keep this to a 2-hour show, but if we have to go just maybe a little past 8 so you can finish up a statement or something, then we can do that. It's just if anybody wants to listen to the show, they'll have to call in the show. Call in number 646-478-4747 to listen, because the live feed will be dead at 9 minutes and 35 seconds. So, but maybe finish up with a couple more subjects. Your store does not appear, I wouldn't say, from at least from the stuff that's advertised, a store that has any sort of extraterrestrial theme to it. And one might say, well, that's making a big oversight there, because a lot of this spiritual and shamanic stuff that we learned as a human species, this great knowledge that we use to build fascinating temples and such from antiquity, was knowledge that was given to us by extraterrestrials, and I don't think the subject of which ETs are good and which ETs are bad falls into the realm of this show. But the idea that you would be making a great oversight, people would assert, because you're not talking much about ETs or selling stuff that's ET based in your store, even though ETs had a huge effect on humanity from a spiritual and a biological perspective, as anyone who studies the work of David Icke and Zachariah Sitchin could assert. But missing the stuff on ETs from your store, do you have any comments to the people that say you make an oversight on that regard?
Actually, that's a good point. I never really thought of it before, and maybe because I'm looking at it through a retail mind, where any kind of ET products out there are the really corny, cheesy, big-headed, oval-eyed, doodads and gadgets and stickers and that kind of stuff, which is it's not really serving much of a purpose other than, hey, look at this cute little alien bobblehead I got, and then for a very long time in my youth, I was petrified of aliens, and that's probably a whole other subject to discuss. So I never really did a lot of research on it, and it wasn't until my maybe late 20s and early 30s till I started to feel more comfortable with aliens and the idea of alien technology and alien beings. So I don't really have a good resource to go to of books that are reliable and recommended that aren't just all hokey and corny. So maybe after the fact you can send me some information of some good resources that I can tap into to offer to my client base that isn't full of goofy cheesiness.
Well, just to make a quick suggestion in regards to books that you could sell, the books of Eric von Daniken, Zachariah Sitchin, and David Icke would be good one. David Icke, though, he's conspiratorial in a lot of regards. That might turn some people off there, but von Daniken and Zachariah Sitchin, definitely want to include them if you want to, in regards to books, if you want to, books that are worth selling, I would recommend. But since we've got 6 minutes and 40 seconds left on the live feed, if you want to tell, just for the sake of finding a subject to end the show on, why the hell were you afraid of aliens, and what kind of aliens scared you? Did you actually have an experience or something?
You know what? I don't know. I just know that I remember being a kid and seeing there's like some documentary or something on TV, and seeing the pictures of the Greys, of what we were thought of as the Greys. It just terrified me, and I held on to that fear for a very, very long time. And there was a point in time, shortly after I moved, I grew up on Long Island, and I moved to New Jersey in 1995, and shortly after I moved to my second apartment, which was probably 1997, I had lost some time. It was so long ago, so I can't really remember, but I remember that I looked at the clock and it was one time, and then I looked again, and I think it was 5 minutes had passed without 5 minutes of me consciously being aware that they had passed. Maybe it was 15, I can't remember now. And the window in my dining room had been open, not fully open, but it was a couple inches open, which wasn't open. Nobody had opened it. And so that was really strange. I don't know if that was an alien encounter or what. I don't know if I was abducted. I have no idea if I was. I'm definitely suppressing that memory. But I'm a lot more comfortable with it now. I can look at a picture of a gray and not feel terrified like I used to. I think I've seen UFOs with my own eyes. I remember seeing something fly across the sky that changed color. It kind of looked like when somebody sets off a firework that I don't know if fireworks ever change color, but it went like red, white, blue, or red, blue, white, but it went across the sky. It didn't go up. It went directly across the sky, straight across. And I remember another time seeing something in the sky that looked like a big orange blob, but it was obstructed by a lot of trees, so I couldn't tell, and it wasn't the moon, because the moon, even when it is orange, you can still see the craters and stuff. This was a solid-looking, like one-color kind of orange blob. Don't know what that was. So that's my alien experience. Why I'm afraid, was afraid, I don't know. I'm not afraid anymore, though. I say that now, and then one shows up, and I'll probably crap my pants. Let's hope I don't.
Well, if you ever want to, you could always talk to an Akashic Records reader, and perhaps they could do a reading of your past lives, and if there's anything that could explain why you are afraid of aliens. Well, that's just a suggestion. I really don't know if that you feel that's worth doing. I mean, maybe you could get the answers yourself if you meditate, but I'm not here to give you ideas on that. That's up to you. If you don't want to look into it, that's your prerogative as well. But unfortunately, there's only 3 minutes, 40 seconds left on the live feed, so I really don't think there's any time for any other subjects. So I guess I'll end this show now, and I'll do so by telling you the same thing I tell all of my guests. Eden Kantrowitz, you are a fascinating individual. I love listening to you, and I have no doubt that this will inspire a lot of people to shop at your store a lot more often, and you'll make some good money on this, and I'll help people understand the science behind how your things work. You are, like I said, a fascinating individual, and I have no doubt that I could do another show with you, but one of my goals with this show is to get as many different guests on my show as possible, as I feel that is the fairest and most impartial and most informative way of exposing the true and false nature of reality. But that is by letting as many different people on my show as possible before giving any one specific guest double dips. So that does mean, I regret to say, I probably will not be asking you to come on my show again, but that's only because I need to give thousands of other fascinating individuals the chance to have glory on my show. But like I said, I promise you I will make sure that I spread this info far and wide, get this on YouTube, uploaded there, and do whatever I can to spread the word about this specific program on social media forums and such, so people will hear the great information in this interview, and also perhaps be inspired to shop at a certain Moment of Zen store in Salem, New Jersey. Thank you, Eden. I wish you luck. Any final words? Just you got 2 minutes and 15 seconds left on the live feed if you want to make any final statements.
Well, thank you very much for having me on. And one thing that I like to say is to always follow your own inner guidance. What you might find to be true today may not be true for you tomorrow. Of course, we're constantly learning and growing and evolving. And so even if I'm telling you something that is true, if it doesn't resonate with you, well, then don't buy it. Research it for yourself and find your own truth. And if you ever are in Salem, New Jersey, come down and see me. I'm there Tuesdays through Saturdays. You can also find me on Facebook at A Moment of Zen NJ. And there's all kinds of links and stuff there on other ways to find me. I appreciate you having me on here and letting me share my story and my information. And I hope that I've helped clarify a lot of things for people. If not, I'm sorry if I caused confusion. Just come in and maybe I can help there. But thank you again, and I really appreciate it, and I hope to keep growing my business and growing myself energetically and spiritually on this quest for the truth.
And I hope to grow energetically, spiritually too, and I hope my show inspires other people to do the same. Thank you, Eden, Namaste. Enjoy the rest of 11/11/2015, this new moon day, and enjoy the rest of your trek out infinite consciousness. Namaste. Take care. Folks, that is the end of this show. On the show next week, I will be having Michael Sala. He was one of the speakers at the Mount Shasta conference. He, I think his website is exopolitics.org. That's not the same as exopolitics.com, which Alfred Weber is the owner of that site. This is, I believe, exopolitics.org. Hey, if I have the two .com and the .org wrong, so I'm sorry about that. That's my bad, but it's one of the other. Michael Sala, ET specialist, next week's show. Please tune in for that on 11/18. So this is Andrew Fisher signing off from Nature of Reality Radio. Like I said, Eden, enjoy the rest of 11/11/2015. Enjoy the rest of this new moon day. By all means, make a wish at 11:11 p.m. unless you go to bed early, and because your wish will probably manifest a lot faster. And enjoy the synchronicities if you see any. Take care.